Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Welcome to Global 1000 Monday Night Money Making Mondays. We do this every Monday. Our objective is to assist African American businesses, one, to give you resource information on what's going here in the St. Louis area, as well as trying to help your business. In addition to that, we have speakers that we bring in every Monday night as well, talk about their stories and help motivate you and make connections. One of the things we always like to do is share what's happening here in St. Louis. If you don't know, from the St. Louis Economic Development Corporation, we had a speaker here a while back. There's $8 billion that's happening here in St. Louis and development. You've seen 3 new hotels downtown, there's going to be another 3 downtown, the NGA. Quite a bit of development is happening here, and quite a few people moving to the St. Louis area. So you're going to have new people coming in with money and ideas and tech, as well as the old. So we'll make sure that there is a black agenda, that African American businesses are a part of that. And we do this every Monday night to share some of those ideas and some of the things that we can help with. Our agenda is very simple. We will have Bishop open with prayer, and then we'll go around the room, tell me who you are, what you're with, and then we'll bring up our great speakers, and I'll also give you an overview of what Global 1000 is up to. So Bishop, give us a quick prayer, and then we'll go on to introductions.
Shall we bow once again? Our Father and our God, we thank you for just being God all by yourself. Again, we ask that things be done decent and in order this evening, and help us have ears to hear, and then be doers of what we hear. And we thank you for the vision and the visionary. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen and amen. Amen.
Great. So too many times we're in the room and you know who's in the room. We like to be interactive. So we can go around the room and share who we are and what organization you're with, and then we'll move into an update and go over 1000.
Hello, everybody. My name is Christina Kelly. I am Director of Special Projects with Global 1000. I'm also co-owner and founder of the platform STO, which is a fashion platform with my a website fashion platform with my business partner and best friend right here, Ms. Niecy Green. So nice to see you guys.
All right, I'm Niecy Green. I'm co-owner and founder of the platform STL. I'm also an independent TV writer, and I'm working on a TV series that I plan to shoot all here. And I just thought I would come out and support my best friend and see what's up.
Amen. Yes, sir.
Hello, I'm Markel. I'm really just here to learn something from all y'all. So. Cool. I'm Jeff Styles. Asset Properties is my company. I'm also co-founder with Gents Youth Program with my partner in the back there. And I'm just here to see really what's going on. And I'm doing here with my group, Black Wall Street and yeah.
My name is Yasserelle, and I'm going to be presenting, so I'll wait and keep all the activations.
Oh, it's my turn. Same here. I'm a TV presenter, so I'm just wait to do my intro so
That's fine.
I'm Ron Llewellyn, and I'm the faith-based director for Ferguson 1000 Global 1000.
I'm Gervais Johnson. I'm a fashion photographer based here in St. Louis.
I'm Rodney Barrett. I handle the text alert service for Ferguson Global 1000. I've been going around the room, make sure everybody's been opted in. If I missed you, I'll get you at the end of the meeting. And just to clarify, it's not a group text. A lot of people don't want to opt in because of that reason. It's a text alert service. You receive the message, you read it, you delete it, or you look at the video or whatever we got on there. So it's nobody can respond to it, so it's okay to opt in and opt out if you want to opt out. So I'll talk to you after the meeting if you want to opt in to receive messages about new locations, Christmas parties, whatever we're doing, whatever, okay? Even guest speakers. Thank you.
My name is Norman Ross. I'm a retired executive director of the Greater East St. Louis Chamber of Commerce for about 24 years. Presently, I'm working with a small business strip development project and a regional development effort.
Oh, I want to be on her TV show.
My name is Michael Smith. I'm also co-founder of the Gents Boys Development Program, and I also work with Steph on Black Wall Street. I'm here tonight on behalf of Black Wall Street.
I'm Gary. I have an online boutique called Gary Kitty Boutique. I sell accessories and jackets, and I'm here to network and gain knowledge.
I'm Casey. I'm a marketing specialist, and I'm just here to support Black Wall Street.
My name is Johnny Mayberry. Me and my wife have a corporation called Thoughts Spoken, and through our LLC, Mayberry Muscle, we have a podcast called Maybe Maybe Not, and a travel agency, Mayberry Travel. I'm working on a business plan to build a greenhouse for seeded grapes, and just looking for any help with that.
Hi, I'm TJ Hughes. I'm a game developer and 3D artist. I make video games, interactive art exhibits, have toured internationally, shown in like South Korea, South Africa, Amsterdam, and so I just make digital experiences that are interactive, 3D, and all that. I'm at Terrifying Jellyfish on Instagram, so you can check that out. This is my mom.
I'm done. Yeah, like you said, I'm his mother. I'm an artist. I have a gallery at 2701 North 14th Street, Zuka Artist Guild. I'm the president and curator of the 14th Street Artist Community in Old North St. Louis. So please come by, take a look.
Peter Sparks.
Yeah.
Peter invested in my first gallery. I had the first loft gallery in 1990.
Nice guy.
He's a good guy, real good guy. Great. Well, St. Louis is reinventing itself as a tech hub. If you have not understood and seen that, we have tons of co-working spaces and technology platforms here in the St. Louis area. For a lot of reasons, it's less expensive here, but the infrastructure is trying to come together to help us grow in tech. So I want to bring up the founder of NexCore, who has developed this place with a vision. We're very excited about being here. He'll give you a little information on his story and the brochures in front of you. Let's give a round of applause for Larry.
Thank you, Dr. Lance, and we pretty much just love hosting Global 1000 here because we believe that the future of St. Louis is going to be largely dependent on the African American community building that wealth and collaborating with that knowledge. As such, I'm co-founder of NexCore, which is a collaborative workspace and business incubator. I'd love to talk with you more if it's applicable, but real short. My background is I was living out west, ran successful restaurants, retired, invested, and then lost everything in 2007, 2008. In the recession, I found myself homeless, living on the streets, got involved with drugs, just my life was a mess, and about 10 years ago I made the decision emotionally and mentally to turn my life around and just to do something better, and then God put things in my path and I found a way to build up some of my resources again. And one of the things I wanted to do was to create a space like this where someone like me back then could have come and gotten not only the emotional support when you're building something, but also some technical guidance, some legal guidance, financial guidance, creative guidance, et cetera, et cetera. So welcome to NexCore. I hope you enjoy the space.
I'm going to give you a quick update on some of the things that Global 1000 is doing, and then we'll bring up our great speakers. Reference to funding. If you do any research in black businesses, only 1% of equity capital comes to African American businesses. So we go to the funding first and then find the deals. And if you know anyone locally or nationally in these areas, we can work with you to help move the agenda forward. First of all is restaurant expansion money. We have a lot of black businesses around the country who are strong locally, have not been able to expand nationally. We have equity capital. If a firm has 2 to 3 different restaurants in the area, we can help them grow nationally. Second, HUD apartment complexes. If you know any churches, locally or nationally, that have built apartment complexes, what's happened in the past, there was 100% debt financing, so the churches weren't able to make profit. They just make direct rolls and be able to pay the note. We can help restructure the deal, make them co-developers, put cash in their pocket. Cannabis banking. We have a national partnership with the institution that does cannabis banking. We know that it's not federal yet, it's only state by state. So we can be able to provide the banking for you, POS systems, merchant banking, ATM, as well as legacy cash. Cash has been sitting around for a while. We can help put that into the bank so any dispensaries and or cultivation areas, we can help there. We just got back from the NBA All-Star Weekend. We were able to assist in the minority medical marijuana boot camp to assist individuals on getting social equity capital there. NFL draft will be there in April in Las Vegas. We try to do things around Super Bowl, NBA All-Star Weekend, NFL draft to connect athletes with economic development activities, and we do a pitch session for Black Tech. So Black Tech companies that come along, we try to assist them in growing on a national level. I just got back from New Jersey. We did the African American Chamber, talked to them about development in the New Jersey area. One of the things we've been working with is Wyndham Hotels. They're looking for more minorities to own hotels. If you do the research, African Americans spend $40 billion in hotels and conventions annually, and we own very little in that sector, especially the convention center. So we're trying to assist in that, and Wyndham's going to partner with us on that. I'll be in Los Angeles in a couple of weeks speaking at Defense Contracting Agency. That's where a lot of funds come from. You know that Worldwide Technology, the largest black business in the country, is right here in Westport. They started defense contracting. So I'm their keynote speaker for Black History Month to look at how we can assist in technology and platforms and contract for African Americans. And we are partnering with the new St. Louis County News. It's a new paper. It's going to be a mix between the Business Journal and the Post-Dispatch. It's really covering things in not only St. Louis County, but the whole region. I'll be their economist talking about economic development activities and look to profile black businesses around here. All right? Any questions, any opportunities, things of that nature? All right, time for our speakers. We try to profile people who are strong in the areas, expert in the areas, and have great experience. We also are transparent. People talk about all kinds of things. They talk about their personal lives and things of that nature because we want to be real. The more real you are, the more it can be happening, right? So our next speaker has done a lot in the nonprofit arena, has assisted in development, has taken on a major initiative, the National African American Nonprofit Executives Association, etc., and does quite a bit around town. So she has to leave afterwards. She's actually helping us on this accelerator. Let's give a round of applause for Dr. Rowe.
Thank you, Dr. Lance and Christine. Anyway, nice to meet you. We're so helpful with putting everything together, so I appreciate all your work you do. And to everyone in the room, I said my introduction because I knew I was going to get up here and didn't want to have to repeat it. But my name is Dr. Rowe, and I'm a native of St. Louis. Traveled all across the world, lived in Dallas for a little bit, lived in Waco, and found myself back here in St. Louis. I definitely feel like God has me here for a purpose. I've tried to literally get out of St. Louis because of the different stereotypes with having a business here in St. Louis. Lack of support, lack of resources, and a whole list of things that I won't go over today. But the most important part is that I'm here. And while I'm here, my biggest thing was making an impact, making a difference. Not only just a difference, but a positive difference. Because you can say you're going to do one thing, and then your actions don't necessarily line up to what you say. St. Louis has a lot of people that talk the talk, but not necessarily walk the walk. Well, I've been really, really diligent in trying to not only talk the talk, but walk the walk. And you can see with my track record that if I say I'm going to do something, 9 times out of 10, it's going to get done. So working with nonprofits has been my passion. It's been my baby, something that I've always loved to do. My first one is Phenomenal I Am Women's Conference. And ladies, our first one for this year will be March the 14th. So any ladies in the room that would like to attend, I will offer up a free ticket for you to come and experience it. It's about networking and connecting with other women that's in your community that's doing positive things on that note. So you can get with Dr. Lance and he'll give you your contact information to make good on that one. But started that to connect women all over St. Louis because again, that problem with just being able to come together, you may not know the next person, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you can't go and support that person's thing. I can go to Atlanta right now and say to any of my entrepreneur friends there, hey, here's an event. If they gave me a flyer, then I'm like, oh, I don't know that person. That's the St. Louis attitude. And we're trying to change that. In Atlanta and the entrepreneur cities, they get it. They see a flyer and they're like, oh, girl, I don't know this person. We're going. You know why? Because this is an opportunity to connect and get an audience that may not know who you are and what you do. That's new people to potentially be customers, to potentially be people that can support your mission. So I wanted to create that type of atmosphere in the nonprofit sector. So that brings me here today. I was discussing with Dr. Lance's new initiative that I want to introduce not only to St. Louis, but on a national rollout. I've been in nonprofits for the last 10 years. I had my own nonprofit, Share My Kids Foundation, and that led me all across the world speaking and also collecting shoes for children victims of domestic violence. I put that one on hold because I read a book called The $1 Million Messenger. And in that book, if anybody's in the room is searching for their purpose, I highly recommend that you read that book, because the number one thing I took from that book was, he asked, what's the number one thing people ask you about? Like, what's your expertise? So I thought about that. And it wasn't my women's conference, it wasn't my degree in psychology, it wasn't, oh, can you counsel me on this? It was more, how can I start my nonprofit? What are you doing, to collect all these shoes? How are you in Africa? How are you sitting at the table with kings? How are you talking, in front of all these different people? And that was the thing. A moment had happened for me where I realized that I wasn't necessarily doing what my passion was. And anybody in here working in their passion or feel like they are in their purpose or what they're doing in life, that's a whole different energy. Like when you get up in the morning, it's like, oh man, I'm ready to go. So now I'm actually walking and living in my purpose. I walked away from my 6-figure career as a psychologist to do what I'm doing now. So that's love, right? Because in the nonprofit space, it's not about the money that you make, it's about the heart. And so if I'm doing something from my heart, that means that I'm putting it all out there. I'm giving 100%. And so in this nonprofit arena, I'm doing the work, I'm putting it out, I'm doing all these things, I'm speaking all across, and I'm looking in the audience, and I don't see people that look like me. What I'm doing is I'm educating other people how to run successful nonprofits, how to go global, how to sit at the table, but I'm sitting at the table with people that don't look like me in this space. And so I thought about it, and I said, oh man, how can I bridge that gap? What is my organization doing that others don't know? And what I was doing was researching, thinking, okay, if I have a nonprofit, how can I survive just not based off of hot dog sales and car washes? But let's think outside the box and let's run it as a business. If you have a business mindset, now you're able to think outside the box. You're thinking about how many streams of income can I come up with this one idea and still be able to help my community, where I'm not relying on the hot dog sales and the car washes. I'm being line items now at school districts, being able to go and do what I love, but they're taking care of the backside. Where if I do a fundraiser, it's for the community, literally. It's not because I need you to buy this hot dog, because if you don't, my nonprofit's going under. It's not that mentality. So if I got it, do I sit on this information, or do I help my next sister cross? Or do I help my brother cross? So that's what I started to do. I hung up my nonprofit CEO hat and turned on trainer hat. So then I started doing these free, somebody say free, classes at Ferguson Library. And I did that for years. And I had jam-packed, just like this room, it'll be jam-packed. I'm just going to work, I'm writing, I'm teaching people how to start their nonprofit from scratch the right way. Think of it from a business mindset. You have to think of the mental aspect of it, because a lot of people go in and they don't understand the mentality that it takes. You have to have an I can, I will, I'm unstoppable type of attitude, because it's going to be overwhelming. You're going to be stressed out. You're going to feel depressed that your family's not going to get it. You're going to have naysayers, the haters, but you got to have your mind right. So I started teaching them these principles, the same ones that I went through, and everybody's like, oh my God, that's good. You should start charging. But here's that hard thing. I don't know if anybody's ever been a business owner before, but you have that power struggle where it's like you want to charge, but your heart's like, I don't know how much to charge, or I'm not ready to start charging. But then you have good people, hopefully, in your life that will let you know, like, yes, you need to charge. This is what you're worth because you're putting out something good in your community. So if you don't charge, you won't know your worth. So charge. So let's fast forward. So I started charging for these classes. And what I realized, they started being fuller than the free classes, which was crazy. But that's how good it is when you have favor, because God will show you exactly what you're supposed to be doing, and He'll give you confirmation. So the seats started to be filled for my paid classes, even more so than the free, because people that took the free class, you know what they did? Word of mouth. It's so good, because if you give out good product and you actually show people that you care about them genuinely, they're going to go and tell somebody else, and then they're going to be like, girl, I took the class for free, but if she giving it to you for $50, you better be there, because it's well worth that $50. It's well worth the $75. And so that's what happened. The word of mouth started to go out about my work that I was doing in the community. So I was like, okay, I'm doing all these classes, now what? So let's fast forward to present. I opened up nonprofit newbies consulting. And I started to take all those years of doing that class for free and turn it into a full-fledged business, right? And I've been able to oversee the income that I was doing before just by doing my consulting business full-time. So taking that leap of faith, sometimes you have to do it, and sometimes you won't know the end goal. Like when I first started way back, I didn't know that I would be here today educating multiple people all across the world. I started Nonprofit Newbies Academy online. It's a 6-week online course where you can take the same class that I was doing in person and do it online. So now, somebody say global. Global. Now it's global because I have clients in Australia, Africa, New Jersey, North Dakota. Like, you look at the analytics in Google, it's crazy. It blew my mind. And I'm like, okay, Jesus, keep using me, right? So now, talking to Dr. Lance, he always gets your brain going. So I called him up and I said, you know what, this is bigger than me. I've noticed this is an issue amongst people that look like me in the African American community. And God had put it on my heart a couple years ago, like I was saying, I'll be up speaking and I'll look in the room and it's not people that look like me. So I said, this won't go away. So what is it, God? What is it? So I tried. The first time was I wasn't going to say a failure. I would like to say it was a learning opportunity because I got people together. I originally called it the Nonprofit Collaborative of St. Louis, right? And I had about 20 people to come together that had their nonprofit to come together and like bounce ideas off each other, right? And that was going good. But it wasn't going as good as it could be. God said, think bigger. And I'm like, man, how can I, what is this? So I just pushed it to the side. My sister had got breast cancer and I was her caregiver, so I literally like shut down the whole idea, shut down everything that I was doing. And then something said, start it back up, like, let's go. Especially when my little sister got cancer. So I was like, okay, God, when you have something good, the devil would throw all these different curveballs in to try to shut you down, right? So I would always say, man, I don't have a testimony. It's all about my sisters. Both of them got cancer and stuff. But God said, you know what, those shoes that I had for you, you always thought that they were too big, but you've been walking in it. I've been training you. I've been molding you. So now when you get up in the morning, you have such a passion because you appreciate life in such a different manner. I don't know if anybody's ever seen their loved one go through a horrible disease as cancer, but it literally takes them from one point and to see them deteriorate, it does something to you. At least it did something to me. It motivated me. It motivated me to not live for tomorrow, but to start living for today. So those things that I started to push off, I was like, oh, I'll wait. I'll start that business next year or the year after. It's not promised to nobody in this room. So the things that you can start to do, that business that's in your head that won't go away, do it. So I did it. I was like, okay, no more pushing it off. Let's sit down. Let's do this thing. So y'all still wondering, like, okay, Dr. Get to this one that you want to talk to us about. So it's called the National Nonprofit Minority Association. Dr. Lance, he tried to get it right, but he messed the name up, but that's the official name. It's the National Nonprofit Minority Association. And it started from all of that background, but the main part is I've noticed that nonprofits that are owned by African Americans are disconnected from the nonprofits that provide services for the nonprofits that are ran by African Americans. What I found is from doing research, I've been all the way from New York down to Atlanta, down to Orlando, just contacting different nonprofits and saying, okay, who provides your services and where are you getting it from? We have people right here in St. Louis that there's tons of graphic designers here in St. Louis, right, that will do work for your nonprofit. But from surveys, I found out that they're getting work from somebody in LA or somebody down in Atlanta and missing out on supporting our business that's right here in St. Louis. And I said, okay, well, why is this? Like, if you're in St. Louis, why are you calling a graphic designer or a grant writer all the way in LA when you have ones right here? Oh, well, I didn't know about it, you know? And then I was like, okay, well, if this is such a disconnect, how can we bring everybody together? Which was my original plan all together, like the nonprofit collaborative, right? But nobody could get it. It was like too far over people's head. But like I said, when God has something for you, what is it? For you, right? So he still put that in me and he said, no, now it's time. You have the experience. You have the audience now. So let's try it again. So I tried it again. And the response has been crazy. Like when I say crazy, I mean crazy. So the whole objective again was to bring the people that have the services for nonprofits to the people that own the nonprofits, but it gets even bigger than that. It's for a community of people that look like me, look like you in this room, to come together to learn the basics of putting together a nonprofit properly. Half the time people fail and that look like us because they have it set up wrong or they just jumped into starting a nonprofit because sister so-and-so told them to. Oh, you got an idea, start one, but they don't know how to budget. They don't even budget their own bills in their house right. So how are you going to expect to get $1 million and no, you're gonna mess that all the way up. And the funders, talking to them, they don't wanna fund us because we don't know how to manage our money. It's a myth that they've gotten. Like, we give the money to you guys and then you don't do what you say you're gonna do with the money. And then it feels like it's a waste. So how can we stop that from happening? Proper education. Let's start budgeting classes for these nonprofits, the people that want to start nonprofits. Let's start working on their mental health because we have a lot of people that can't even get their own thoughts and stuff together, but they're out trying to serve a community and now you're messing up our babies and you're teaching them the wrong things and things like that. So let's work on your mental health part. The key functions that you need to have to be a proper business person, period. We have hairstylists that started nonprofits that never managed before in their career, trying to start a nonprofit. So now you need management courses to properly manage people, to learn different personality types so you can be an effective CEO. We have people that have nonprofits that's never spoke before. As a CEO, you will have to get up and present your ideas to people. You will have a board meeting where you have to know how to talk to people. Those are basic skills that our nonprofits that look like us are missing. And that's why I wanted to create the collaborative where they can come together and get these opportunities free of charge that's in our community and nationally. So creating a national board of people from all over the world that can come and be a part of this. It's an online community. And if you have Facebook, you can follow our page. It's the National Nonprofit Minority Association. We also have a Facebook group where you can jump in and get connected to everybody that is a minority that has a nonprofit. So it's an opportunity for you to network. And so with networking, that piece looks like this. If you are a nonprofit and you live in St. Louis, you can go to Atlanta for vacation, right? And you're in our group and you see that it's a, let's just say Megan has a nonprofit in Atlanta and you know that she collects baby diapers, right? It doesn't take money out of your pocket to support her, right? What it takes is you saying, okay, Megan, I'm gonna like your page, I'm gonna share your mission for you, and then if I'm in your area and I know that you're collecting baby Pampers and that's all you need to be successful, this pack of Pampers can help you with 20 women if you give them out, right? One Pamper. This is that, right? So you're in Atlanta. You could pick up a pack of Pampers, drop it off to her, and go about your merry way. And you know what that would do for her? You know what that would do for her community? That's literally our community as a whole. It's just helping out. So let's get from that thought process though. You have to spend money to help somebody. So in the association, we'll highlight a nonprofit that's owned by a Black person every month in our newsletter and weekly on our through our Facebook. So that is an initiative for people to join. We'll also have online school, a partnership. I'm putting it out there. Dr. Lance, we're gonna have to have a business meeting with Harris Stowe, but to have continued education credits for the people that are working adults that need to have those extra education credits so they can go through our university, take the course that's taught by what? African American qualified to teach our courses, and then have that partnership with Harris Stowe where they get those college credits. And the online courses will be taught by all African Americans that are experts in the nonprofit field, because I did research as well. They're lacking. They want to teach, they just don't have the audience. So if we give them the audience, now you can click on it, learn a course from somebody that looks like you that's educated, and then be able to go out and serve your community properly. Now you're better equipped to do a better job to serve. So does anybody have any questions?
How did your sisters do with cancer?
How do they deal with it?
Are they still dealing with it?
Well, my big sister was 43 and she passed away a day after my birthday. So my family likes to say that she saved my birthday, because my birthday is very special. Most people do their resolutions, you know, on New Year's. I always do mine on my birthday because it's a celebration that God let me be here another year. So I always set them up on my birthday. And so she knew how special that was to me, and I think that she waited, because she passed at 2 o'clock in the morning on the 12th. So I appreciate that for her.
It has happened to me and it will happen to others, but you're doing well. They're smiling at you.
Oh yeah, I appreciate that. And then my little sister, she's a year younger than me. She's actually battling stage 4 cancer right now, but she's doing good. She's actually at the cohort that I help. I volunteered to help the people that are trying to start new businesses. So that's where I'll be headed after I finish this, to help her out. So we started a podcast called Get Your Ish Together. And basically I had got stuck. Like I was telling you, when I was taking care of my big sister, I got stuck because I was like seeing life deteriorate from her, and I had never experienced that. Even as a counselor, I hear, oh, come on, you're gonna make it through, you're gonna do all these things, and I'm telling my clients that, but for it to hit that close to home for me, I was like, oh, I had to push the brakes on everything, because I do a lot for so many people, but I wasn't taking care of myself, and so I had to press pause on my life so I could then press play and move forward in a healthy manner to make sure that I'm, moving forward productively. So we started that podcast, so you can check that one out as well. But everybody's doing good, family and everything. So I pretty much do it for them, do it for her, to keep it going.
With the nonprofit newbies, should everybody on the board become a part of that? That's a educational thing, right?
Well, the nonprofit newbies is for anybody that's new to starting a nonprofit, or if you want to start a nonprofit. I have several people in that group, and that's another group on Facebook, and that's where I do nonprofit think tanks. So something similar to this, we do them once a month. Our next one will be on Sunday, and we get everybody in the community together so they can bounce their ideas off each other. So if you don't know what a mission statement is, then you need to be here, because this is free that we're giving you. So let's pull your notebook out, and we're going to think about the who, the what, the where. Because if in 30 seconds you can't tell me what your organization does, what you need, and where you're doing it at, I can't serve you. So we have to get your elevator pitch. Most people don't know what nonprofit is. You need to be able to get up and tell somebody like that what your nonprofit is about. You need goals. You need a strategic plan. You need a budget. So where you at with all of this stuff. If you're not where you need to be somewhere that you can get what you need. So that's what the think tank is for. It's always going to be free as long as I'm, hitting it up to come out and get information. No one charged me for it, so I always feel like if God can do it for me, then I'm gonna reach back and help somebody else along the journey. My one-on-one sessions, that's totally different stuff. I gotta eat too, I'm a mom, got my kids, so, have to do what you gotta do. But other than that, it's totally free. So if you're thinking about starting a nonprofit.
I already had one going, and you hit it right on the head from us being new. Like, we got everything going, and we end up helping somebody, but in the end, we end up hurting more than helping because we were just going blind with it.
Yeah, and see, example, testimony, and that happens every single time I get up and I tell somebody that you can just jump into a nonprofit blindly, or you can go in properly informed, properly knowing what you need to do. You're gonna need a bank account. If your credit's messed up and you can't even go open up a bank account, you gotta have a bank account for your nonprofit. You need an EIN number. Some of these things are basic concepts that people are just not being informed about, and then they get to the point where they're trying to get a nonprofit. You can't do. If you don't have board members, you're not a nonprofit. Like, some of these things we need to put out on the table. I like to keep it real and I keep it funky. I tell them before class starts, we're gonna get real and we're gonna keep it funky. So if you have anything, let's put it out on the table and let's talk about it. Because if you keep it to yourself, you're not getting the help that you need.
And what really hit me was that, like you said, the mental health aspect. We trying to help people, but we ain't got our stuff together. And that's where it bleeds into people who really need help's life.
Yeah, and so with me having the PhD in psychology, I hit on the mental health aspect really hard. Like, come on, let's deal with it. I diagnosed somebody right from just talking. I'm like, no, you need to see me afterwards, like, seriously, because, sorry, after class. So it's just like that. But he wouldn't have known that, just the different issues and stuff that he would have brought out in the group. And I'm like, okay, this is something that you have to work on before you put yourself in front of helping, other people. Because it's going to come out. You're going to have that moment where you go from 0 to 100. And I don't want anybody's kids to be involved with that because it's going to be ugly. And then they're going to look at it like, okay, well, were you not diagnosed with anything? Did you not know you had these types of issues and stuff? So you have to look at the picture as a whole and make sure that you are mentally, physically, financially, emotionally prepared to run a nonprofit.
Yes, does your group, the minority newbies, does it have any special experience in working in the nonprofit area of community development corporation, neighborhood groups that want to get into comprehensive neighborhood development and joint venture with private developers, and that type of development seems to be very open in the St. Louis area.
Exactly, and that's one of the pieces that I'm working with Dr. Lance to get more information on how to expand. But as far as the minority group, it's a national nonprofit minority association. So if you want to find it on Facebook, and we're looking for experts. So if you have an expertise or you know somebody that is an expert in that area, or perhaps it's yourself, then I invite you to come on board so you can teach other people about the knowledge that you do have on that platform. But so thank you. Anybody else have any questions? If not, like I said, I appreciate how you can help me is to go ahead and like our Facebook pages. Like I said, join the group. And if you do be a part of the group, go ahead and invite somebody that you know in the nonprofit sector. I know everybody knows somebody that is thinking about starting a nonprofit, have a nonprofit that's struggling, or has a service that they can provide for a nonprofit. Go ahead.
First, I want to thank you for coming before us. And something that she said, because I'm from Cleveland, and I've traveled quite a bit. And this is something that I had experienced back in 1995. I often say to myself, as we walk along these streets, we don't even say hi to each other. Well, how are you doing? Yeah. Though somebody can use that sometime, but St. Louis got something going on. I feel like, is it the chicken wings? What's that? We can say, what's up, brother? In the Million Man March, it was profound how many of us was able to say, what's up, where you hail from, black man? There were a lot of black sisters there as well, but where you hail from? Because we all started one core. I'm so pleased, man, because I procrastinated. I said, I'm not going down there. I'm so pleased that that other little person on my shoulder said, go down there. Lance ain't never screwed you around. I'm so pleased that I met your acquaintance. I'm going to get your card, and you the real deal. Everything you told was from the heart. I know because I have walked in that similar journey. If we can't say what's up one another, we ain't going to ever get together. Our children are lost.
Let's give Dr. Rowe a round of applause. Agenda, and you want to connect with her, just connect with me or Christina, and we'll make sure that you have that connection. All right? Our next speaker, people always ask me, man, do you have a twin? How do you travel so much? Because I'm everywhere, but this brother travels more than I do. He started an organization called the Black Wall Street Challenge, looking at the historical perspective of Black Wall Street in Tulsa. He really is about black business. You can see him on social media in every city across the country, always supporting black businesses and really getting highlights for that. And we're very proud to have him tonight and talk about his journey and what he's doing and how he's helping black businesses around the country. Let's give a round of applause for Stephon West.
All right, I got some big shoes to follow up on now right here. Let's give her another round of applause. I'm not as great a speaker. I will warn you, I might have to look at my notes a couple times. I got a lot going on, but so basically, I also bypassed on the intro part because I didn't want to repeat myself. But my name is Stephon West. If you are connected with me on Facebook, it's Stephon Self-Rule West. So basically, I don't like to say I started the Black Wall Street Challenge because the mindset behind the whole idea of the Black Wall Street is something that is kind of what our ancestors that's in us, basically, natural, to support each other. And, you know, back when the Black Wall Street was prominent, we didn't have any other option also as well. So a lot of you, I know, you probably are familiar with the Black Wall Street. If you're not familiar with it, is anyone in here familiar with the original Black Wall Street? It's crazy. Tulsa. Okay. All right, I'm gonna get back to that. This is why I say I'm not good at this. First off, I want to thank Dr. Lance, Global 1000, for having me, NexCore for allowing us to be here as well, and all of you that took the initiative to come out today to a networking event of like-minded individuals. All right. Now let's go back to what the Black Wall Street is or was. So if you know anything about history, we had slavery. Of course, that's not where our history started, but we're going to start from there. So after slavery ended, you released all these black people off into the country. We were property prior to that, so we didn't know anything about business, ownership, any of that kind of stuff, right? We weren't even looked at as citizens. But somehow, in 50 years after slavery, we had our own banks, our own institutions, our own infrastructure, our own hospitals. I mean, anything you could think of that you need to make a city function properly, we've had that. We had that in our own community. And what integration did, if you fast forward after that, was that disassembled all of it from the inside. It pretty much knocked away the foundation that was put there prior. So that hurt us a lot because what we did then is we had the opportunity and the option now to go take our dollars elsewhere. And what that did was that also when the money left, jobs, creation opportunities leave, other business opportunities leave. So that kind of like leaves it kind of like strips the community of its natural resources, you know. So I saw this as an issue really my whole life, and I was always infatuated by the idea of the Black Wall Street, which I'm getting to. So it's a town in Tulsa called Greenwood, some call it Little Africa. And it was destroyed literally in like a 2 to 3 night span due to allegations of a black man assaulting a white man. Now, we don't know if that was true or false, but what happened after that, they tried to come to this side of town and take this black man and lynch him. The town was like, nah, we're not having that, we're not gonna let that happen. Gunfight ensued. From then on, you know, they, the other side of town, which is the prominent white side of town, went and, you know, berserk and just destroyed this town, leveled it. They even used, it was one of the only times that the U.S. ever used its own planes to bomb its own soil. Only time in documented history that's ever happened. You look at it. So that led to a lot of black people being displaced in that area and just really just destroyed, like, you know, leveled. Nobody ever received any insurance claims. Nobody ever got, you know, relocated. And even to this day, the people in Tulsa are having trouble with the city and just zoning permits just to get people, just to get to be able to use it as a tourist attraction. Because where it's located, they got these zoning rules, and since it's, you know, they can't get a simple sign and exit off the highway just to say, you know, the historic Black Wall Street channel. So they're still dealing with that today. But they are making progresses with Jay Morrison and the real estate fund that they're trying to do.
And tell me a little about the number of businesses and the kind of businesses that are there.
Okay, so the kind of businesses were everything from a hospital to insurance companies to banks to, I mean, our fire department, airport.
6 jets over 5 people.
Yeah, I mean, we had a whole city, like a whole, and this wasn't just Tulsa now. This is another thing that we miss out on. Tulsa was not the only Black Wall Street. There were multiple, this was happening all over the country. It was happening at Rosewood, Haiti, there's a couple other cities, but there that were prominent and, you know, they were all destroyed, you know, due to some sort of... So with that being said, I was always infatuated by this whole concept of just getting back to that. You know, how do we get back to that way of thinking? How do we get back to thinking like, yo, this is my brother here, I'm going to spend with him. You know what I'm saying? How do we get back to that mindset? How do we get back to trusting each other and wanting to do that too? So, yeah, so I started on a journey as well. And it happened around, shortly after the Mike Brown situation, I started, you know, I guess, wanting to do something because how they were just playing it and everybody in here, are y'all familiar with the Mike Brown situation? Okay, cool. So that changed me so much internally. I stopped watching TV that year. I mean, I just shut down because the way the media was playing, it was like, it was a war zone in our city, and we knew that wasn't going on, you know what I'm saying? But how they was playing and turning everybody against each other, the city against the county, Ferguson against everybody, you know, it was just a lot of, you know, black against white, it was just a lot of that mess going on. So I was like, man, you know, I want to get out here, I want to learn, I want to do something. So that actually motivated me to go to the Mid-Man March. You were just talking about that. And I'm going to touch on that because he's right. Mid-Man March happened in October 2015. And that was, to me, like something that really, really, I guess, was like the icing on the cake. Like, I got to do something. I went to see Farrakhan speak. I don't really follow any religious. I feel like we all are people first, and I can associate with anybody, you know. And I feel like that is really the godly thing, you know what I'm saying? All these other things that separate us are just another way of segregating us. So I went and was with an open heart and mind and received this message from this powerful man. I want to say he's probably one of the most powerful black men on the planet to me at this point in time, and one of the people that I would love to meet one day because of how he was able to bring so many of us out that were like-minded and that were, you know, just like you said, where you hail from, where you from, my brother, my sister, and everything. And one of the things that I brought back to St. Louis was that all of these black people came from all over, right, to the Mid-Man March. Not a crime was committed. Look this up. No crime was committed in that little vicinity of where all that stuff was going on.
You were there in 2015?
I was there in 2015.
I was there in 1995. That's when the first one happened.
Right.
And it wasn't a million of us there. even though the media lied, it was 2 million of us there. And you can tell crowd size by a groundage that it covers. So from the monument all the way on out, it was just a sea of black people. I've never seen nothing like that before. I mean, we were literally, but we looked like ants through, you know, just the way we flowed through there. You know, white folks come out, dang, he done pulled this off. Imagine what we can pull off.
Oh yeah, definitely. We got it.
This here get us hurt. This here let them know we ain't alone.
That's right. So as he was saying, yeah, it was a beautiful event, and it changed me in how I view, you know, my brothers and sisters. You know, just on a national level, just like, wow, we got really the people of Earth. You know, we got our own nation, and like she was saying, we have all this stuff out here. A lot of us just don't know where these resources are and how to use them to our benefit. You know what I'm saying? So one thing that I left with, and to this day, it motivated me though. Farrakhan was speaking a lot, but I felt like when I left, I had more questions than answers. So that's kind of what motivated me to say, okay, he didn't really give us a national plan. I kind of feel like it was almost like a recruitment thing too at the same time, you know, which, you know, I can't knock that because, you know, they got an organization. And I understand it, but I felt like he didn't give everybody a plan of action, of course, action to go back to their communities and like, yo, this is what we need to do. And I was looking for that at that time. So sleeping on it, and I came up with this idea to use the internet for some good. I would find these black businesses, I would go in them, and I would just shop with them and put them on my page. And of course of that, I would also challenge that business to go spend with another black business, which is where the name Black Wall Street Chapter came. So that's kind of like how I got started. And that was 4 years ago. And right now, currently, I've been in, I don't know, close to 20 cities across the country. Just finding black businesses, shopping with them, put them on the page, highlight them and things like that. And yeah, so.
Say the number again.
Close to about 20 businesses, 20 different cities where we actually make money in these different economies. We're not just, and that's another thing, I'm not coming into your business and trying to, you know, steal your shine and just, you know, say, hey, you know, I'm actually shopping with you. You know, it's not a game, it's a real life thing. Like today I went and I try to like put this in my daily routine. Like if I gotta get gas, I'm in the city, I'm gonna go to National Grid Kings Highway. I don't know if y'all know that. That's black owned, been black owned over 20 years. So I was literally on E. I had a meeting this morning with the NAACP and another meeting. I left them and I was like, I was on E, but I'm gonna get to this gas station and spend my money. You know what I'm saying? That's just how I am. If I go and I want, you know, I do partake in spirits, wines and spirits. And when I want to get that, I go to E&J's on Kings Highway. That's one of the ones that I know that's black owned. They've been open 43 years. I mean, I try to keep that in my, you know, my day-to-day routine. So, and I would hope that you all as well try to just, at least, if you can, you know it's black owned, go shop there. I found a new business today, K&M on a page, and I believe that's Vandervenner. And this brother is trying to do so much right there on that corner. He's got a laundromat, he's got a little convenience store, and the city is blocking him from, you know, getting funds, even with just the blighted vacant lots across the street, and you know what I'm saying, things like that. So, yeah, so
how are they blocking them?
I mean, okay, so he wants to get the EBT, they won't let him get that. They say you gotta have a certain amount of eggs, a certain amount of milk, you know, it's things like that, and then he's got some other issues, so we're trying to help them. So that's another thing. So if you do own a brick and mortar business and you are having, and you're in North St. Louis and you're having some sort of issues with the city, you can get with me on that because I'm actually in the process of just compiling a list of things, and we're trying to make the city held accountable.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? And, you know, because take for instance a blighted property that could be across the street from your business, right? Asbestos is in there, you got all this lead paint, and you got the grass growing up to where people can't even see your business and things like that. Now, if that was your property, the city would be fining you and sending all these people, zoning people and all that, and you know, but we gotta hold them to the same, the city should be held to the same level of accountability. So that's another thing that we're doing as well. So if you do own a business in North St. Louis and you're having any issues with the city, you can see me on that. That's a new partnership we just formed today with the NAACP. So on to other things. Also, we have a Facebook group. So if you're on social media right now, pull out your phone. The Black Wall Street Challenge, all one word. And basically, I just put content up there all the time about local businesses, national business, businesses all over the country that are black owned. And the good thing about the Facebook is it's interactive, so anybody can contribute. If my brother, if you find a new black business tomorrow, or if you got a cousin, a family member that has a black business, you can post it on there. You can let people know what services they provide, and it's free. As long as you posting stuff pertaining to, black business, uplifting things like that, I keep it up there. Now, if I get on there and, somebody say, I went there last week and they had attitude, I delete stuff like that because I'm not here to rate business. That's not what I do. I just want you to know what the black businesses are and how you can go support them. You know what I'm saying? We don't want to, I'm going to tell you something about that in a second. So, well, actually, we can get to that. When you hate on a black business and put them out of business, that hurts all of us because that is going to slow the progression of another business opportunity for another business to be created, as well as jobs. We're going to lose jobs, we're going to lose tax dollars, and the community loses as a whole. I'm from Walnut Park. Anybody familiar with Walnut Park area? Okay. In Walnut Park, we don't have not one sit-down restaurant that take your families. Not one. Everything is behind bulletproof, or you got to get out of gas station. You don't have any sit-down dining spots you can take your son. You know what I'm saying?
I got Diners Delight.
Debbie's Delight.
Debbie's Delight.
She's closed. I think she relocated to, I believe, Atlanta. She went down to Atlanta. And a lot of business owners are going to these other states, like she was saying. Atlanta gets it, Chicago gets it, even Memphis. I went to Memphis and somebody took me to 10 black businesses. Now I can walk around St. Louis and say, hey, you know any black-owned businesses? You see?
That's another reason why you shouldn't keep down black business and kind of perpetuating the same myth that our business are doing. That's what we're leaving.
Exactly. Hurts all of us, I was listening to Dr. Boyce on the way here, and I really, if you follow me, you know that I'm real cool with Dr. Boyce. That's a homie. I respect the man. He's one of the first people that actually, took me on his wing and took me on tour and just kind of showed me the ropes. Just kind of gave me some jewels. So he was saying that the three main initiatives to the black agenda should be that we educate our own children, right? That we create our own jobs, and that we support black businesses. And to me, that is that's the blueprint to, our community getting back to its former glory. You know what I'm saying? It's just understanding that we got to educate our own kids, and we have to create jobs. We can't rely on the system to come through and save us, because it's been tried and proven that is not the way to go. Look at the community right now. I don't want to talk politics, but I do work in politics as well. I'm a consultant, political consultant. But I will say, if you look around, 50 years we've been supporting the Democratic Party. And I'm not saying don't, because here's another thing. This is another thing he was talking about today. I'm just speaking real. Now, this might hurt some feelings, but I'm just going to be real with you. If you look around the community in 50 years, nothing has changed. Nothing has gotten better. Now, I'm not telling you to go vote Republican because it's the same way, and the way I look at politics is right wing, left wing, same bird. But we gotta support. We have to support the people that have policies in place that support us. We have to. If they don't respect these three things, like I said, educating our own. If they're not for that, if they're not for allowing us to help create, more jobs and support black businesses, then we shouldn't be voting for them no way. And that's just my honest to God truth, because I work in politics, and it is politics, as they say. That's just what it is. It's they give you this They say, Dr. Boyce used a good analogy today, and I'm not gonna get off into that because it might hurt some more feelings, but I will just say that we gotta make sure that when we get to this table, these are the demands, and this is what, if you can't support this, then I can't support it. And I'm just saying, anybody in here, if you do vote, I'm not telling you not to vote, I'm telling you to do your research on who you vote for and the policies in play. If it's something that benefits you, go with that. But if it's something that you like, I don't know, and we can't always go back and, look at things that politicians said 10, 15 years ago, because that's irrelevant now. So even when they start digging up all this stuff on each other, what are we doing right now? Because that'll get you, you be lost in the sauce, because all of them have said something that's not going to benefit black people. That's just what it is. I mean, politicians go with who's paying, who, where the funding comes from. So if you funded them one year, they might say something nice about you, and then the next year they say something totally different. So just do your homework and your research on that. I ain't want to get off of the politics. That's just, that is my job. So, but getting back to the Black Wall Street Challenge, I hope everybody did join the page, contribute to the page. Please share the page, share one of our posts. Like the sister was saying, there's so many ways that you can show love to people without shopping with them. You know what I'm saying? You could just like a post, share a post, repost a post, you know what I'm saying? And word of mouth. Word of mouth goes a long way. And yeah, so does anybody have any questions? Because I'm gonna get to wrapping this up real soon. I just wanna get
Self-ruler, you said something self-ruler in the beginning.
Okay, Stefan Self-Ruler West is my
What you mean by that, self-ruler?
Oh, well, rule of yourself. To rule oneself is the ultimate power.
Yes,
and
sir.
to do that, you have to,
Preach.
first off, be in tune with yourself. Know where you're coming from, where you're going, have your purpose, find your purpose, things like that. And I say self-ruler because I feel like we all made in the image of God, right? And I feel like you can believe that or not. It's just now we're doing left field. We answer this question, but I feel like with that being said, I look at all of that religious stuff. It's like waiting on Jesus to come back is waiting on a black man and a black woman to get back to where they need to be. You know what I'm saying? And to be God and to get back to that godly image of oneself. You know what I'm saying? And that's how you also gotta look at yourself in the mirror. You know what I'm saying? So that's where that comes from. It's, yeah. So
I'm 63 years old. The one thing I got on young folks is I got more stories to tell and more events that I lived. I say that to say this. Where we really fail at is to pool our resources. Can't no one individually pull off anything, but when you gather those numbers and we all throw a buck in, we all got ownership. We give up ownership, be it to whatever that ethnicity is. Be it the Arabs, I'm just be real clear. Be it the Chinamen, yada yada. We're so quick to say, I'm mad at my money. Here, Mr. Chinaman, that treat me like shit. You have some more of it, even though you're right, Stan. I'm not saying that to be bigot. Don't get me wrong. But when we're doing the rice, we don't necessarily go into that rice house that look like our mom or our daddies. We don't. Because we're going to keep this real, right, Lance?
Yes, sir.
A lot of times we go, man, y'all ain't shit. Keep on going to take my money over there to that China. China don't respect you. He said, no. Look at them. Look at them. They bring us their money, and we don't even want to live.
Social media right now. So okay. So a couple things I got going on before I get out your way is every Saturday we got a partnership with. So if you guys don't know, we got a black-owned radio station in St. Louis. It's a Christian radio station. 690 AM Jubilee, KSTL, it's black owned. That's owned by the brother Bishop, I can't think of his last name, that owns the coaching churches out in West Angeles.
That old KIRL.
No.
Something different.
KSTL, 690 AM. So basically, I got a partnership with them where we are periodically throughout the year, we're going to provide if you have a brick and mortar business, we come into your business, we do a live broadcast to help generate more foot traffic, and for a small fee, she comes out, her sister by the name of Tammy Renee. Conversation 3.0 is the name of the show. It's 2 to 4 every Saturday. If you are near radio, check that out. She always has really interesting people and people that are movers and shakers in St. Louis. She gives her platform up to anybody that's out here doing something positive. You don't necessarily have to be a member of the church or anything like that. If you're doing something positive, she'll let you come on the show and put you on her platform. So that's something we do when
You said conversation 2.0?
Conversation 3.0. Yep, and she has a Facebook page as well, go like that. And yeah, so that's from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. every Saturday. And I'll be on the end of the month with Larry Hughes, the basketball player from St. Louis. Then we got another Clear Channel thing, but I gotta work out the dates on that. But
It's on your site though, right?
yeah, it'll be on the page. So everything that I got going on, even for us travel, I always post to the page. We got some things going on. Probably next month we're gonna be in Virginia. So if you got any connections out in the Hampton Roads area, we're looking for black-owned barbershops and beauty shops in that area that we're gonna try to start a whole new campaign out there with.
So you have a web page,
Yes, sir.
website
Yes, sir.
that African American entrepreneurship can go on,
Mhm.
and you'll promote that. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, you actually have even better, have a page, a Facebook page that you can promote your own business as much as you like. Now, if you want me to come into your business, it's gonna be a small fee, but you
I got a software engineer that you all might be interested in.
well, post it to the page, man. Post it to the page.
I'm liking this. This is
You can
very
post it to the page.
cool.
So, if you have questions, sir?
Yeah, those three areas, the education, the creation of job creation, and supporting new business development, whatever. Do you feel that that the most devastating factor that has devastated those areas in the black community in St. Louis has been political policy or something else?
I wouldn't say it was just political policy. I would say this. Matter of fact, it has nothing to do with politics. Our condition has everything to do with each other. How we view each other, how we view ourselves.
No, I know. What I'm asking, were the policies that created the problems that we have in those areas, were those voted in, or was there something else?
Okay, so these three factors right here are what we want
And after
refer
this
to.
thing, I would like to talk to you more.
Okay,
Yeah.
this is what we refer to as kind of like the basis behind the black agenda. These should be our main concerns when we go to the table to discuss.
I totally understand.
Okay, now as far as the way, I guess you could say the black community, what's going on now in the black community, I wouldn't say that it was all voted in, but I will say that what will happen is these representatives, or whatever you want to call them, from certain parties will come to our community, solicit us for our vote, but then support other things that have nothing to do with it. Like after that, they don't come back and make good on those promises. So that has a lot to do with it, but the current condition of us economically has everything to do with us. Now, there are some things that they prevent us from doing, like redlining, banking, all this other stuff, loans, getting funds. But if you can get everybody in this room to shop with you today, and just say they all spent $100 with you, you know, the bank ain't stopping that. You know what I'm saying? Things that are stopping that is the fact that maybe she's not aware of your business. Maybe he doesn't want you to succeed. You know, it's other things, but I think those things all can change with just rooms like this, like-minded people, think tanks, things like what Dr. Lance and Global 1000 are doing. So it's a matter of supporting those instances first, then we branching out. bringing all these networks in together. Everybody here had a network of 1,000 people. Just imagine the impact we can have in St. Louis overnight. And that's what I tell people. Oh, you will shopping with each other and creating these kind of networks and things like this will change our community literally overnight compared to voting on, putting somebody in a position. Flat out. I mean,
We're going to end the questions. We can talk to them afterwards.
Yeah.
So very quick announcement. Many events are happening this week. I'll have to make sure that we know what's going on. Great. Well, Bishop, it's on you. Bring us up.
We're over time, so I'll put my glasses on and just read to you and then give you a moment, please, from the book of Philippians, chapter number 4, and verse number 8. It says, "Finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, and whatsoever things are honest, and whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, and whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of a good report, if there be any virtue, if there be any praise, think on these things." The old adage is, so as a man thinketh, so is he. And so you got to watch how you think. The thoughts that come in, they just don't come in, they go out. And we just got finished with happy February 14th. And some of y'all was as lonely as I was. Come on here. But if you think, sad, blues, lonely, depressed, woe is me, come on here. You act like that.
What's up?
Yeah. It's just a fact. Doc always says that you ought to have, for every poor friend, you ought to have two that are rich. Come on here. And that changes your philosophy. It changes your thought pattern. It changes your creativity. Come on here. If you always rubbing elbows with pigs, sooner or later you're going to get some slop on you. Come on here. You're going to get some dirt on you. Come on here. If you always down with, I don't see elephant in there today. If you always run with the elephants, then you probably won't soar with the eagles. Come on here. You see what I'm trying to say to you? Again, it's about your thought process.
That's right.
Think good thoughts. Come on here. Clear your mind. Get up early and clear your mind.
Talk about it.
Ask the Creator, whatever you call him. I know him to be Jesus. Come on here. I know him to be Elohim. Come on here. I know him to be Jehovah. But whatever you call him, ask him to guide your footsteps this day.
that's right.
Challenge him. Wait a minute. When I was coming up, they dared you. Double dog dared you. I dare you to clear your day, to start your morning, and ask God to direct your steps, and then see what happens. The book says finally. Finally means there's some things that took place before, and now this is the end of the matter. When it's all said and done, you got to go for what you know. Baby girl got up here and said she didn't wait for tomorrow. She started living for today. Come on here. Because tomorrow's my promise to you. Happy Valentine's Day, delayed. Come on here. Somebody didn't get a rose. Somebody didn't get a flyer. Didn't get a new outfit. Didn't go to the show. Didn't have dinner. But you woke up.
That's
Come on
right.
here.
That's
Yeah.
right.
With another day.
Yes, sir.
Church in
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And all you got to do is make the best of it. And you say, well, Bishop, how do you do that? You start out with giving thanks for here I am. Come on here. Here I am. Here I am.
Yes, sir.
Take me, use me, show me. And as we get ready to stand before the flat screen, what happens is some of us have tried it on our own for so long, we just rusty and dusty. Come on here. And all God wants you to do is surrender your all to Him. He made you. He created you. Come on here. And He's just waiting for you. Come on. Some of us don't realize that we Valentine. Come on here, yeah, see, come on here. Charlie Wilson, as I stand, he's got this Forever Valentine Day song. Come on here. I just want to be your forever Valentine. That's what God wants to be. He wants to be your forever Valentine. Come on here. Yeah. Now, if you'll be obedient, I'm going to ask a blessing upon you. We're going to stand and take a picture, all of us. And then if you would like NexCore to give you a tour, they will do so if you haven't. And then you get to do your special thing, your networking with one another. And that's what this is all about. Is I got ideas, you got ideas. How can we put our ideas together and be a blessing? Can I make it more plain to you? How can we make some money?
Yes, sir.
Come on here. How can we? Yeah. See, we're blessed to become a blessing. That's what it's all about. Ron, you trying to say something? I'm sorry. Oh, Ronnie's trying to help me, but yeah, Ronnie, yeah. You're welcome to all the food, because if we leave it here, waste not one now. If you leave it here, then they'll be there tomorrow for the NexCore group, okay? Let us pray. Our Father and our God, we do thank you for Dr. E. Lance McCarthy and the vision that you've given him. And we pray, Lord, that we fit in and get in at your purpose, at your will. Thank you for your traveling mercies here. We ask that, yes, we leave this place, but never your presence, that you would keep us and you would guide us and we would surrender our all to you. Thank you, Lord, for choosing us today. We love you and we place no one above you. In the mighty and magnificent name of Jesus. And everybody said amen and amen. Would you walk, please?